Hi, friends. Welcome back to Growing Up with Devon. Today, I have a very special guest on the pod. Not as special for you as it is for me, because you might not know him, but I know him and love him. This is one of my best friends. I met Drew when I was 16, and he was just one of the coolest dudes I had ever met. Just a very even-keeled actor, surfer, and just like good, cool human. And he became one of my best friends when I was a teenager. And some friendships have come and gone in my life, but this is one of the lasting friendships in my life that I know will kind of be here I will always know Drew. And we've gone through a lot of life together and a lot of life changes. And as he said at some point in the interview, growing up with Devon, he's like, yeah, I've been watching that show my whole life. Drew has literally been growing up with me. And I thought it would be great to bring him on to discuss friendship, amongst other things. Drew has dealt with chronic health issues, which I know a lot of people out there have dealt with. So talked to him about that. Talked about adult independence and setting up your own life. The long-standing changes in friendship. And just, I don't know, we talked about a lot. We share Coachella stories and life stories from us being young teenagers in Hollywood. And I just love this man. And he has a ton of wisdom and a ton of humor. And enjoy this conversation with one of my best friends, Drew Garett Nelson, actor, surfer, investor, hot guy. I don't know. Enjoy.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks.
It's not an interview, right? We're just hanging out?
Yeah, kind of.
Cool.
It's not an interview. Here's what happened is a lot of people on this pod, when we ask for like, what topics about life do you want to hear discussed? A lot of people ask about friendship. And like, a lot of them are asking about making new friends as adults, which is not us. But I just had the thought, I was like, oh, let me bring Drew on and let's have a weird anatomy or dissection of friendship together, because we have a long-standing friendship that's one of my favorites in my life.
Absolutely, likewise. Just to clear something up real quick, you said we're not that, meaning we don't have new friends, or we're not looking?
Because I don't know. You and I are not.
I'm open to new friends. I just don't particularly need them. But I'm not saying that I don't ever want new friends. It makes me feel like a Scrooge.
Yeah, like no to new friends. No, and I was saying like we're not new.
Oh, sure. Okay, got
adult
it.
Friends. But actually, no,
page.
that's actually a good starting place. Do you make new friends as an adult now? Because we're in our 30s here. Do you make new friends?
Yeah, I make new friends, but not in the sense of like a youthful, lifelong friend. It's more of like a workplace friend. So it's more like acquaintances that maybe it'll advance, but
right, like contextual friends.
Contextual friends, right?
Could potentially
could blossom into like that. Yeah, but I think that my like core group really got established young, and I still am so close with all those people. And it's like jury's out, like, sorry if you're not,
if you're not in.
Yeah.
I know I do feel that sometimes, where it's like some of my friends, you included, it's like we have such a history of our friendship that any new friend you can't catch up. Like, you can't catch up to the level of knowing that I have with my friends.
Totally.
Now.
Intimacy.
That was the word I wanted to avoid while making eye contact with you.
But it's true, though. I mean,
it's true. It's true.
I think, like, if you don't have those shared experiences in that context, the come from is just different.
It's true.
And you're getting to know someone, so that dynamic is already. But there's joy in that as well.
Yeah, I've been surprised. I mean, during the pandemic, I feel like I lost or acquaintances got cut out. I feel like my circle got very small.
Right.
And it became clear in my life, like, who's just around
Like, who
forever.
are you willing to break the rules with?
Yeah, who am I willing to break the rules with? Who do I want to check in with, right? Like, all those things.
Yeah.
And then, actually, in the last couple years, like, new friends still come about in my life.
Yeah.
It's just they can't, like I said, they can't catch up to, like, my longtime friends. Because that shared history, you, like, can't catch up to.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, we're barely friends anymore. You know, like.
Well, yes. I moved to the west side of LA, which is far from you, and you got a girlfriend. So,
fuck.
Never see you, bud.
But I mean, it's past that, like with work and just, I don't know. You get older, and then all of a sudden you realize, like, fuck, I gotta like do shit now. Like, I have to start like the casual, like, Tuesday, hey, let's hang out and just figure it out. That's not so much of the, and especially when, like, for instance, a woman in my life, she's going, excuse me, like, what are you doing? You know? So, and it's a good feeling. It's like, oh, right, I'm on it.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, and I
miss it.
I want to clarify. She's not telling Drew, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you hanging out with me? She's like, Drew, what are you doing with your life? She's like,
what's your plan?
Exactly.
And then I'm like, well, generally the plan, I'm not talking about a general plan.
What's your fucking plan, Drew?
Like, looking me in the eyes, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I do have plans, but they're more abstract. And she's like, that's the problem. Abstract is not, there's no room for that. And I'm like, okay, well, let's get it going. Step one, can you help me?
Step one,
but
what
it's
do I
good,
do?
Man. Like, I mean, you know, everybody needs inspiration, and I think it's a big source for me, and that's not right or wrong, right? I mean, like, that's a. I think my brother actually could relate to that on a deep level, even though he went off and decided to, like, pivot from bombing hills at 40 or 50 miles an hour to, like, maybe I should get a career.
Yeah. To becoming a fucking
full
engineer.
leathers helmet.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, all right, I'm going to do engineering. I'm a smart dude. And I was like, whoa, that was such a boss move.
Yeah.
But even still, I think until he met his now wife, he had a little bit of that going on too, of just kind of like cruising, you know?
Yeah.
Like riding the wave of life. Which eventually, like, there's no waves. So you have to actually, like, get out of the water and, like, do something.
Go do something.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, his partner in his life, I think certainly has, like, just given him a little bit of direction and focus. And even if it's just that
little edge,
little touch, like, you're already, like, the pieces are coming together. You're at 75. 75's good.
Yep.
It's not complete until it's 100, and that's that extra push that I think is so healthy and so necessary. And
Definitely.
it just depends on who you are. Maybe it's not a relationship. Maybe it's, say, an event or all sorts of variables that could come into play there. But
yeah, mine was like turning 30 and having 2 roommates, living in a spot that, look, I'm grateful for my spot, but it's not the dream. It's not where I aimed. It's not where I wanted to end up.
Didn't want to end up with Tyler, dude.
Tyler, I love you, but
you.
He doesn't listen. It's fine. Tyler doesn't care. But just waking up at 30, after 20 years, honestly, of pursuing a career, like, full out, you know?
Yeah.
And then ending up at 30 with roommates, no money, coming out of this retail job, the pandemic, no girl, like, just all this shit. That was actually that impetus for me of, like, okay, what the fuck is my plan? And first I need to recognize I am not where I want to be.
Right.
And then try and figure out how the fuck to get there.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, you need that. You can cruise for a while on some, like, decent enough life.
Sure.
And at a certain point, you're going to need to find, like, a little direction.
Yeah, and I mean, with the entertainment industry, it's like, It's such a tricky thing because it's like sometimes when you don't have anything to show or you don't think you have anything to show, like other people would look at you and go, what do you mean, dude? You're like well established. You were on a Nickelodeon series. People were like, when you don't have year to year things to show or like heavy income or whatever that thing is, even though daily you're pursuing this thing, it's really tricky to give yourself that approval or that go ahead of like, we're checked in, everything's building, we're good.
Yeah.
Because it's like you get close on a series, you're in a callback, you're in that place, that audition process, and then it drops back to square one.
Exactly.
And even though that is a pursuit and that is a process that is forward moving, it doesn't feel like it.
Exactly.
You know? I mean,
exactly. It doesn't feel like it.
How can you possibly, when you're up for Walking Dead, you're flying out, you're in there, and then it doesn't go your way, and you're like going home on your flight back. Well, obviously you didn't know at that point. Yeah. But the point is you're coming back with empty-handed.
It doesn't feel like progress.
Full fail.
Yeah, doesn't feel like progress.
Full fail. And as much you could be the most positive, happy, non-depressive person in the whole fucking world, and still that'll eat away at your core.
Yes.
And I for so long, I was like, dude, I'm impervious, bro. Like, I'm chilling. It's no biggie. Like, my time will come. Lies. I'm freaking out. You know, like that's real. And I still do believe those things. Yeah. But it's both. Yeah. It's never, you can never fully avoid those feelings. That feeling inside you, which is maybe not feeling seen or not feeling appreciated for the work you're doing, or even worse, feeling like a fraud. Yeah. Feeling like maybe the work that I'm doing isn't even, maybe I don't even know how to do it. Yeah. Because maybe if I did know how to do it, I'd be there. And that makes you question everything. Yeah, like reality.
And that's the spiral. Like literally then you spiral on your whole reality. Because if you've been pursuing it since you were a teenager, like we have, and not getting it, you'll literally, you can't do it too long because it's a mental spiral.
And just to be clear, like we get it sometimes.
You saying we book sometimes?
Yeah. Like, of course. Because you put this blanket like not getting it. Like we're sitting here not. There's success. There are victories. Yes. But it's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. And that's when you also go back to those conversations of like,
what's my plan?
What's my plan? And like, were those adults that were saying like, oh, okay, so you've chosen an industry where like you're not going to make that much money, where you're going like, was I just a fucking idiot?
Yeah, were they right?
Were they right? And I'm over here wrong? Like, oh my God. But then also we have those other flip side. I remember being in a film class at Pasadena City College. And I was walking out. I like turned in an assignment after the class or something like that. And it was one-on-one with my professor. And he's like, so somehow we got in a conversation. He's like, oh, you're an actor? Okay. He's like, yeah. I remember thinking I was going to do that. Sitting in his professor chair. And I was like young and like, this dude. What a hack. Like, little does he know, dude, I'm going to blow up. And now I'm looking back like, remember that moment where that professor was like... But at the same time, I've been working on a show where I'm like, look at me now, professor. Oh, forgot your name. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
But
I know it's like you have the moments.
Right.
And then you're like, it's coming.
Sure.
It's coming. The ramp up's coming.
Right. This year, this is that year. But it's all good. It hurts. But pain is good.
Yeah.
And I think the mental fortitude that it takes to withstand that year in, year out, dude, that can be applied towards so many things in life.
For sure.
That you'll be so well trained and so much more resilient to challenges that you'll face in your life moving forward. And I mean, sure, like the entertainment industry has done that for us, I believe.
Yeah,
but there are all sorts of other challenges that people are going through that you can apply that same theory or that same effect to, I think, which is you're building strength and you're building endurance and you're like taking hits.
Right. I mean, even no matter what you pursue in your adulthood, like even just wanting your adult life to look a certain way or feel a certain way or be good, if you set out to kind of progress from where you are, it's going to be a challenge. Like if 100%. You actually take account of your life and go like, this is not where I want to be, and then set a goal, even if it changes on where you want to get to, just like, I don't know. I have just been amazed at how much of becoming my adult self, like, it's not as easy as it looks. Like, just getting my feet under me as an adult with finances, with my living situation, with my living habits, with my relationships, my communication, my career pursuits, like all those things, getting all of those kind of grooving with a fucking foundation, it's hard, man. You got to come up against a lot of failure, and you should. You should.
Absolutely.
And I mean, to bring it back to like friendship, like that's where like my long-term friendships win out, is like we've seen each other through so many phases of our fucking life. We met as little fucking teenage
little boys.
Gremlins, dude.
Gremlins is accurate. We were feisty.
Yeah, we were little. I met you during the rebellious teenage years of fun and exploration.
And carnage. Violence.
Yeah, dude, you were 2 years older than me. You are 2 years old. You were.
Still,
I caught up.
Yeah. Crazy how that we're still
it's
on
crazy.
that.
It's crazy that you're still, like, how have I not caught up yet, you bitch? So you're 2 years older than me. So when I met you, like, at that age, it's bigger. I think
sure.
I think I was 16 or 15 and you were 17 or 18.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, that guy's fucking cool.
Which really, from my end of that dynamic and experience, was just like, I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, you did.
I miss that a little bit. I miss that. I still can tap into that, but like, that was a genuine existence of not giving a fuck.
I know, you didn't give a fuck for a long time. And then you really started giving a fuck earlier than I did, and it really bummed me out.
Yeah, it came on. It came on quick.
Yeah.
But as you know, like I had some health challenges that
started that.
That prompted that.
Yep. No, it's real.
I didn't just like one day wake up and go, you know what? I don't want to get fucked up, and actually, like, I don't want to go like launch Roman candles out of Devon's moonroof. What?
That's not a story I'm ever telling on this podcast. My mom listens to this.
I was a hypothetical, like, that could have been something that we, like,
could have been something we would do.
So no, like, there were things in my life that sort of forced me to reevaluate.
It's true.
Which was a good thing, but ultimately, but
So like when Drew and I met, so we met through a mutual friend. And that's kind of how friendships happen in teenagehood. It's just like groups of people getting together.
Way too many of them.
Yeah,
like,
it was amazing.
Like,
well, especially like we're like
that?
we were like young Hollywood. So like we're teenagers with no school and no jobs, not really at the time, and no rules, kind of. Like everyone has their own apartments. It's a strange situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so groups of young Hollywood teenagers getting together. I met you through like a different friend group that eventually imploded, and we kind of broke off into like our own little friendship, little bubble.
Yeah.
We partied for many years.
Yep.
That was a core of our friendship.
Yeah.
Was Coachella
and beer pong.
Coachella and beer pong was maybe the foundation of our friendship.
There was a little bit of fliggy diggy.
that is Halo. That's Halo. That's video games. A little fliggy diggy. Yeah, there was years of that. And then you started to have like health shit that peeled you off from our like party exploration.
Yeah, I cut off the drinking. It was.
Yeah,
it was
and you
real,
like you even stopped like
introverted.
Yeah, you introverted to try and heal.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going? I know a lot of people out there deal with like chronic health shit.
Yeah,
that was like a huge. That was you becoming like a new person in my mind.
Yeah, 100%.
And I felt so bad.
Dude, I felt worse. But it was such a huge challenge for me, and it affected my career.
Yeah.
It affected my friendships.
Yeah.
It affected your
romantic relationships.
My romantic relationships. Yeah. It affected my financial outlook and my mental health.
Yeah.
I am a pretty happy dude.
Yeah.
I'm pretty even keel.
Yeah.
Not to say I don't have my bad days.
Yeah, but no, you're very even keeled.
And I was a sad boy.
Yeah.
Depression. Yeah. All of it. Autoimmunity is very real. And my battle with eczema and autoimmune skin issues was more intense than a lot of people. Yeah. And when I would mention it, a lot of times people were like, "Oh, it's not that bad," or like, "Oh, I can't even notice eczema. It," or "Oh, whatever." Like, it's just a little rash on your hand, or oh, dude, it was way past that. Yeah. And it was severe, and it was systemic and chronic.
Years.
Years.
Yeah, I mean, it's still right. It's still like there,
sure, it's still something that I have to deal with, but. Had I not taken that dive into self-reliance and kind of being my own doctor, oh, dude, I would be in a worse place now. Yeah. Because when you're dependent on topical steroids and pharmaceuticals, the dependency only grows, and you become like addicted to this shit. Right. And I had to go through what's called TSW, which is topical steroid withdrawal, which essentially is like everything that this medication is designed to prevent, once you get off it, comes up like tenfold, because all of those reactions are being blanketed, right? And then once you're off it, right, like cold turkey, it's kind of like going through a drug withdrawal, except it manifests on your skin.
Right.
And dude, I was just like a dumpster fire. I was like a just burning, blistering mess. And that was one aspect of it, jumping off that. But then I had to figure out the root of it. And that was like just years of self-diagnosing, research, like hours and hours and hours and hours of research, which you, as everybody knows, when you go on the internet, you can find a yes to everything.
Yeah, it's endless.
So
and you can find an answer to, you can find a solution to everything.
A solution to everything, right. Yeah. So I had to look into each avenue, and most of them were wrong. Yeah.
So I know you would try something for a while.
I would go vegan. I'd be like, dude, maybe veganism is like, I don't know. No, maybe it's this, maybe it's, and I just exhausted every avenue until I finally started, and I was always looking for that, like I cured it. I figured out what the thing was. Right. It's not that. It's your lifestyle, it's your environment, it's your food, it's your mental health, it's your sleep. There's so much. And what undertaking that was, but wow, did I learn so much about health, nutrition, myself, my ability to make it through times that like I didn't know if there was an end to it, you know? My mom would always say, "This too shall pass." And I was like, shut the fuck. Like, it's not passing. It's been 7 years. But yeah, like it's real. It's real. Yeah. You will get through things, but the determination that it took,
dude.
Whoo!
Dude, it was crazy. Like Drew was my one of my best friends. Drew was my fucking party friend too. Was Drew is a maniac in a fun way.
Yeah.
We kind of all were, but that was like part of it. And right, life, you go through these changes all of a sudden earlier than kind of the rest of us.
Way earlier.
Because Drew had this crazy autoimmune flare up, like your skin would just like turn into like scaly red.
Like
from the outside, we go like, oh, that looks so bad. I can't imagine what it feels like for your skin to feel. I mean, raw, existing.
Raw, yeah. Uncomfortable, but also like like I was embarrassed, man. I was embarrassed.
Dude, you were like a shell of who I
felt
knew
like
you
I had
to
never. It was humbling, and in that way, it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
because I was not so humble in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
I think I've always had a warm and kind heart, but like
humble. Yeah.
I was in high school and I remember someone saying something to me to the effect of, before I like got to know you, I thought you were a dick. And I'm like, before you got to know me, you thought I was like, what is that based on? And did I maybe take it with a grain of salt? I tried to, but like here I am. I noted it. And I thought, okay, something about my energy or how I'm perceived generally might be a little bit standoffish or a little unkind or a little. So all of that.
Yeah.
Later, you're on the ground in the fetal.
Yeah, you were a humble, sad boy for many years. It was hard.
Do you remember when I was doing like fasting?
Bro, you got so skinny. It was frightening.
I walked out of my room like in boxer shorts that were like falling off me.
It was frightening.
And you were
I've never seen you
laughed.
So small.
You were like, oh, Drew. And I was like, what? And you were like, dude, you look like you're from Rwanda.
Yeah.
And I mean, as funny as that may sound, like it was.
Yeah, like, no, my friend Drew was withering away. Yeah. Trying to heal yourself, but like.
But dying.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Can't be good.
Fasting didn't work. By the way, guys, listen.
Another solution that didn't work.
I was already a skinny guy. I'm very lean.
Yeah.
Fasting is a stressful thing for the body.
Yeah.
If it's done for 8 days.
Yeah.
No food. What are you doing? I remember I told some people and my mom would like call me every day like, how are you?
Yeah.
And then once I started like really dying, I was like, okay, let's try something else.
I should try food now.
I was like spinning.
Yeah, man. That was like a huge chunk of time too. I just kept wondering when you were gonna be okay.
Surface. Totally.
It didn't happen.
No.
It didn't happen. It was fucking 7 years, I feel like.
Yeah, off and on. Yeah. And I would come out of it and kind of be doing better.
Yeah.
And then go back into it. But like similarly to, I don't know, PTSD or something like that, when you've already been in the shitter with it so long, for even if it would come up at 40%, my mental, I'm losing, I'm struggling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, man, what a journey.
To have something that you can't heal and that you want, like you said, you want the fucking answer to. Yeah. I have a lot of friends with this now. Like, Tyler's dealing with a chronic pain situation. Shaq's dealing with a chronic pain that like, it's not autoimmune, so like yours is hard because it's so visible. Is like it's your skin. You turn into something that people can see.
I'll say something about that. It's a blessing and a curse. It's a curse because I'm embarrassed about it. Whatever that whole perception.
Yeah.
It's a blessing because it didn't go unrecognized.
Right.
The minute it started, I was aware of it.
Right.
I was uncomfortable and I could see it.
Right.
Some people have internal issues.
Yes.
They're not sure.
Right.
They can't see it with their eyes.
You just go
they
like,
feel like something's off.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm just getting older. No. And I mean, this is like a can of worms. Like
it is.
The food system, our environment, the things in your home, like it goes deep. And I don't want to scare people, but like you need to educate yourself.
All right, I'm gonna push back on that, but I agree entirely. I'm only gonna push back because what's fucked is the more I educate myself, I actually circle back to ambivalence because I go down a road, guys. What Drew is referencing is that everything in our fucking system and environment is toxic to us. Everything.
Right.
Everything. It's all fucked.
Right.
It's insane.
Right. And you got to find your line, right?
Right.
Like you got to figure
Right.
out
You find
where you're
how
at.
you
First
can-
off, how's your health? If your health is okay, maybe don't be so
Right.
strict with certain things.
Right.
But like, yeah, look
But
into
like
it.
water's super questionable.
Water?
Our food is super questionable.
Your mattress.
Just
Your-
the chemicals they use
Totally.
to build houses and
Totally.
the things, the plastic in our water bottles, all those things. You know, Drew had an autoimmune thing, so he really went down the hole of like, what could be causing my system, my immune system, to flare up like this? Like, why am I freaking out and can't solve it?
Right.
And in doing so, learned that everything is toxic. And this is true. When you actually go and like educate yourself on it,
Yep.
what happens to me is I go, so in order to cleanse myself from this, I can't exist.
Right,
So,
like-
fuck it. That's what happens to me.
And then
is I
that's
go,
where
so fuck
I
it.
say, not fuck it.
You
Just
say, no, fuck it fully.
Not fuck it fully. Just find your happy
Yeah,
place somewhere in the
yeah.
middle where you're informed, but you're not losing sleep over it. You know, that's
Yeah.
it. Easier said than done. Good luck, guys. We're all fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
That phrase, ignorance is bliss, is
Oh my
so
God.
real.
And that goes back to those days where like we were just
doing anything.
doing anything and everything. And
cares?
there's such a blissful place in that.
Yeah, we have become and will continue to become those old guys who say,
Yeah.
"Remember Coachella 2008, brother?"
Remember when there were no smartphones at Coachella?
Oh,
and
dude.
people were just doing it for the love.
Dude, honestly,
Yeah, that's
honestly, Drew and I got to go to Coachella during the
Yes.
beautiful years. We went for years. We went maybe for 5 years.
Yeah.
I have like 4 photos. Do you know what I mean?
I don't have any.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I have to find. I have like
I have
4,
yours, like the ones that you have. That's
and
it.
I think they were from
Some
like
of
a
them were
digital
from
camera, like a camera,
a point
not
and
my
shoot.
phone, a point and shoot.
Yup.
And I have like 4 from 5 years of Coachella.
That is insane.
I know. I have
Yeah.
no evidence that we were fucking having the greatest time of our lives.
And it's funny, like I think that probably if you go back, that still exists, right? To some extent.
That feeling, yes,
But it's
that-
like one portion of it.
Yes.
There's so many other
Elements now,
elements that
yeah.
are going on there at this point. I haven't been going for a while, but
Yeah.
like the last year I went, I could even feel it.
Yeah.
There's not a sense of like anonymity and like what happens in Coachella stays in Coachella.
Exactly.
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite. It's,
And
let's
there was
show
something so
us.
magical about even just walking around and catching eyes with somebody, and it'd be like,
Yeah.
and then you walk away and you
Yep.
pass or whatever.
Yep.
But it was like you would just point to people and they would point back at you and you'd be like, yeah, and they're like, fuck yeah.
Exactly.
And you're like, I don't even know that person, but that was just so much love. Like we got to be doing something right here.
Yeah. Dreams.
Oh, so awesome.
I'm sure that element still exists, which is just walking
Totally.
and just seeing the stoked in other people's
Yes,
eyes.
yes.
But
yes.
maybe they're posting on Instagram now. I don't know.
Totally. Or they're like kind of like
they're taking their
they're
little
like, let's go
content
live.
moment.
They're
Yeah.
IG live or whatever
know.
they're doing. But in a show too, I think that's probably where those moments still happen.
Yeah.
Of like when you're at an artist's
Yeah.
show that like you've either never listened to or you're just discovering, that you've been listening to for years, whatever
Yeah.
the thing is, and you connect with people that you're like, I love this moment.
Yes. And I love you, stranger.
Totally.
It's a beautiful thing.
That was what it was all
Yeah,
about.
we went. Our buddy.
I wish we could like cut to like the photos
I
right now.
I
Like
know. Well, there's
like let's
fucking
get
one.
let's get the production in so we can start.
Our buddy, when we went in 2008, I had gone for like one day before that, and then 2008 it was like, let's do it. Let's go for the
Mm-hmm. That's
weekend.
right. You had snuck in there like somehow.
I
as
went
a
for
little
Rage
baby.
Against the Machine like at
Nuts.
15, dude, for one day.
That's epic.
Oh, it was incredible. But we went in 2008. We were like, let's do the whole thing
For real, yeah.
I think I was 17. Our buddy said he had an RV, and we thought, great, we'll go in his dad's RV. What we didn't realize until already on the way to Coachella to pick up this RV and then go was it had no working functions.
None.
It drove. Other than that, nothing. This RV was from the 70s. It had shag carpet. The fridge didn't work. Not a working toilet. The AC didn't work. It was a box on wheels.
It was a piece of shit.
It was a piece of shit.
We couldn't go over like 45 miles an hour, or like the cabinets
whole thing was shaking.
Insane. And then we got comfortable with like, all right, let's like, we'll be at like 50 and it's going to be a little chaotic, but we got to get there. Like we got to make.
Yeah, otherwise we're never getting there.
Right.
Yeah, we accepted the chaos. God. We lived in that RV on the side of someone's house. We sweated our asses off in it.
Yep.
We
woke up in the morning. In the mornings, we would wake up at like 7 a.m.
Because the RV would have cooked.
It was already
as soon as the sun hit the RV, it was a greenhouse.
Yep.
And and we'd pull our sleeping bags out to the lawn out front and just sleep in the shade for a couple extra hours because the RV was too hot.
There was this classic moment where one of the mornings, I somehow just was like pass out in the heat of the RV.
Yeah.
And I'm like waking up and I start to hear like, oh, God, oh, shit. I look out and you guys are getting hit with all the sprinklers. Like you're laying in the lawn thinking like probably in the shade of a tree and just getting nailed by all the sprinklers. And I was like, all right, this is classic.
Yeah. Yeah. And then 3 days of just the best music in the world.
Yeah.
Not documenting it in any way. Maybe taking some drugs.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe exploring with some psychedelics.
A couple, yeah.
A couple of those. And being with my friends, telling them that I love them and that life is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was glorious.
Yeah, I'll never forget those times.
Yeah.
And like what that felt like. And when I hate to say this, but when I go to festivals now, like over the past few years, any festival scenario that I've been in, I kind of genuinely feel like, I did this. Yeah. Like I did this. Mm-hmm. This is cool, but I can't recreate my most glorious experiences in this scenario ever again.
Yep.
And I'm okay with that.
Me too.
I'm cool.
Me too.
I'm like cool. I'm hanging out, and then like I'm out. Like I can't
because
I can't help but compare it to like
it'll never be that first.
Yeah, you just
or
can't.
First couple.
No.
Like the second year we went, I remember like looking over at you like during Paul McCartney, and we both just have like tears in our eyes. Yeah, like Paul McCartney's giving us the most mind-blowing 3-hour set.
I didn't anticipate that at all. I was like, Paul's gonna be epic. That's where I left it.
Right.
I was like, I so moved.
I know. I looked over, Drew's got tears in his eyes. I do too. It's like,
I was like, dude, this is so beautiful. And it was really like, I mean, I think one of those moments was when he was doing Blackbird.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it really, that dude, what a performer. He played every instrument on that stage.
I know.
And was just like so full of life.
I know, for 3 hours, full of life, full of stories.
God, it was really, really
and
impressive.
Then full of the greatest, just these songs that everyone knows.
And I'm not like, I'm not like a diehard Beatles fan.
I know you're not.
I respect all music.
Yeah, but I know
for country music, guys. But that was like transcendent. That was like, it's not like a Beatle fan, not a Beatle fan. This is it.
This is humanity.
Yeah,
this is art. This is people. This is love.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
It was love. Yeah, I feel that with the festivals now is like, I will not get back to that. Was those were life-changing experiences then.
Yeah.
Now they're good experiences when I go.
Totally.
They're not changing my life because I already had it. I already had my life changed by them. What I like about that as I get older is it forces me or encourages me to not look for that in my past. Like, I found it there once. It forces me to go like, let me travel somewhere I've never been. You know what I mean? It forces me to, it encourages me to go like,
what's the new experience? That's amazing. I love that thought process. I love that because there's so many new experiences to be had. The world is so big.
Dude, this life is huge.
Right.
This world is huge.
So as much as I try to be like, dude, I'm bona fide. Like, I've been there, done that. It's like, yeah, but have you fill in the fucking blank?
That's what I'm saying.
It goes on and on and
Yeah.
on, you know?
You know what's on my radar that I don't know if I'll ever get to, but that's out there is like one of these fucking big hikes, like the Pacific Crest Trail, the Appalachian Trail, like one of these, do it once.
Ooh, are you going to do it alone?
I don't know. I don't know yet because I have no actual steps towards it yet. But like one of these like month-long treks, like
totally.
Like that. You think you need fucking Coachella to change your life? Like
hell no.
Trek on a hike for even a week. Do like a week-long backpacking trip. Like it'll change your fucking life if you've never done it. You know?
Sure.
And I haven't.
Nor have I.
You know what I'm saying?
We've done the day trips, and we've done like some
gnarly hikes, but never
cool
like
hikes.
backpacking like days on end. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I'd need to learn a few survival skills. I mean, I could. Yeah, no, I'd need to learn a few survival skills.
Yeah, I mean, you got the life skills, but like the survival skills, bro.
Yeah, like wilderness skills. That's different.
Or just start like watching those like prepper shows, or like those crazy people who like build a bomb shelter underneath their home.
No, that shit's crazy. But I do watch Alone.
I have.
You watch Roland, right?
Yeah,
Rock House.
Oh my God, that's Alone.
That's Alone.
Rock House.
Okay, now those people are incredible.
That guy's a badass, bro.
I'm here at Rock House.
That guy was.
He was ready to live there for years, dude.
Bro.
He was gonna beat everybody.
The bison that he like tracked down.
The musk ox.
Oh, is
that he stabs with a knife?
And then he used its pelt to like insulate his body and his rock house. That was mind blowing. And he was like, he used its like scrotum to store.
Oh yeah, he's like
dried goat berries and like preserve them. And you're like, dude,
he's this here's muskox scrot makes a great preserving sack for your berries.
Dude, you gotta have him on the show. Dude,
I don't think Roland does podcasts, bro. That man is antisocial, brother. Those are some antisocial life skills.
Holy shit.
That man was literally like, everyone else on that show is like, I miss people. Roland's like, this scrotum's amazing.
Like lather himself with the lard.
The brain juice. Crazy. If you guys haven't watched Alone, please do.
It's really, it was something special.
Survivalist skills. But yeah, watch that. Those are like primal life skills that I'm like, yeah, if I go backpacking, I need some of that shit.
You need that confidence.
You know what I
mean?
mean?
Need a piece of flint and some like tips from Roland.
Yeah.
Good memory. God, his first and last.
I love that, man.
God, what a badass.
That or Survivor. That or I'm going on Survivor, you know?
Survivor's watered down, but it's still...
It's not watered down. It's
compared
just
to Roland?
Bro. Yes, it's just different. There's like a social game.
The last thing I saw on Survivor was like, I don't really watch the show that much, but Amelia and I watched a bit recently, and it was like, the biggest challenge was like this chick had a bug stuck in her ear, and I'm like, listen, talk to Roland.
But no, it's different.
It's a different format.
Survivor, you got to play a social game.
Totally.
You can't be Roland.
Totally. You
can't be rubbing muskox scrot on your fucking forehead for moisture. You know.
No. And you got to have what's up with the
buff?
The buff. No, like they always have the bandana.
Yeah, that's the buff.
Oh,
it's called a buff.
Jeez, I feel like I'm getting at like anything.
You're out of your element.
You're out of your element. For all the Survivor fans out there, I apologize. I didn't know what the buff even was called.
Listen, I gotta have some, dude. I've become friends with a lot of the modern survivors via Twitter.
Right.
So I gotta have some of them on the show.
Yeah,
Jam,
absolutely.
Jam. We're gonna clip this out. Jam, winner of Survivor this year. I love you, man, and I gotta have you on.
He'll tell you all about it.
We gotta have Jam on.
Let's shoot him an email right now. Just
he's in Puerto Rico. I gotta have him on.
How do you know that? Is that where he's from?
That's where he's from. He's a hairdresser in Puerto Rico.
Oh shit. Okay.
He's the best.
Sick.
Yeah. Life's weird. I've become friends with survivors on Twitter.
That's awesome. I somehow saw that.
Because they've all become old enough to know Neds.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
so
right.
When I tweeted,
so the contestants are now.
They're like, it's Ned, and I'm like, it's you, it's Lauren, it's great.
That's awesome. The mutual love.
Mutual love.
Watch each other's shows.
Ned's is the gift that keeps on giving, man.
Dude, I love that. I love that. Even just to bring it back to Coachella, I remember being at Coachella and we'd be in the crowd and somebody would be like, "Are you her?" And I was like the cool friend, yeah, it's no biggie. Ned Biggie, whatever. I've known this dude for years.
Yeah, you'd be like, no, that's Justin Bieber. And I'd be like, shut the fuck up, Drew.
I probably would say something like that.
Yeah, you guys called me Biebs for a minute. And then I got on fucking Greek, and there was an episode where my character like played Bieber.
Dude, and I was remember this.
I was like, Drew, you son of a bitch.
Give it to me. Give me the credit. Or credits, dude. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
And you're 100% right. Like, there was a quick little... We were just having fun.
Yeah,
but
yeah, you're just...
You had a full Justin Bieber performance on Greek.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, we'll see if we can find that clip.
And that was it. You probably chopped your hair soon after that, and that was a wrap.
And that was like a recurring role on Greek, and that came later when I read that script at the table read that like my character was going to be like performing as Justin Bieber. I was like, fucking Drew.
You're like,
fuck.
Yeah. And I was just like, told you, dude.
You're Biebs, bro. Shut the fuck up. You're Biebs. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been cool, man. It's cool growing up with you. I love you.
Love you too, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, this is my show, you know? Growing up with Dev.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah, Drew's literally
I know this show.
I know the show.
I've been like one of the supporting...
15 years,
I'm a lead.
Yeah, you're a lead on Growing Up with Devon.
Yeah.
It's true, man.
Definitely.
It's true. You've been there through my whole fucking, life, my whole growing up, It's
crazy to think, like, I mean, you know how it is. You just know what's in front of you, but like pictures help. When you look back, I'm like, oh my God. I was young. I looked young, but like,
yeah,
we were baby boys. You were a child.
Yeah.
We were both children.
Yeah, we were little teenage boys.
Man, it's crazy. But life is good, you know?
I know it is.
Life is good. And the fact that we're sitting here in the early AM in a studio producing a show, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it used to be more like 1 p.m. rolling out of bed. Like, what are you doing?
So true.
Devon couldn't get out of bed.
Dude, the amount of time...
Devon would sleep forever.
The amount of time I just wasted sleeping. But I couldn't wake up.
I always came back to like, I kind of my mom used to guilt me about sleeping in. So like, I was like, okay, he needs it. I was always like, where's Devon? Dude, Devon's been sleeping all day. Okay, he needs it. But I reached a point where I was like, maybe I need to start like disciplining him about his oversleeping.
Dude.
Because he would sleep.
I would be so surprised. I'm like, how am I still asleep? But I would be asleep.
Just sleeping.
I don't know. We've come a long way. I'm a more responsible adult now. I was also that was like my early 20s, you know?
Oh my God.
Now I'm a more responsible individual. I don't sleep that late anymore.
Neither do
like
I.
9. It's like 9, 8,
You're
9,
up.
8, 9, 10.
Even without an alarm.
Yeah.
That's because we're adults.
Thank God. I needed it. I needed it at some point.
That's right.
Fuck.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to feel relatively responsible for my life.
No, it does feel good.
Yeah, it does.
It does. Even if it's not inflicted by your parents, like I think at a certain point, like when you're just sleeping the day away, there's something, there's something either you're maybe avoiding or
just being irresponsible, man.
Yeah. I think it's like I was just smoking routine.
Too much weed, man.
What is that like?
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
There's never such thing as too much.
There is.
No, there definitely is, especially when it's delivered by a triple double roar bong.
Like I gave with those 2 up years ago.
Oh my God! Thank goodness.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of said something before that made me think of this. Is like without parent forcing it, I feel like you, through your adulthood, I mean, the health was part of the impetus, but even before that, you have always been, to me, a very independent and kind of taking on the responsibility of your life kind of person. And it actually was always, like, it was great to have you as a friend in that regard, or it is great to have you as a friend in that regard, because, like, I could always look over and see you kind of, like, owning your shit.
Yeah.
Like owning your space. You keep your shit pretty fucking organized and nice, and like owning your adult responsibilities, like bills, finance, like all that stuff. Health became a thing. So then nutrition. I've always been able to look over, as much as we talked about how much like we partied as teenagers, you even had a lot of that as a teenager, because for a time you were like, you moved out of the house at like fucking 18. Like,
yeah, man.
You were on your own at 18.
Living on my own pretty young.
And taking that responsibility on in a pretty fucking great way.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
And it was helpful.
Yeah.
And I had to lean into it. Mm-hmm. And luckily, I was equipped to some extent with the ability to handle all that.
Yeah.
And, you know, you live and you learn.
Yeah.
Like, I look back and I'm like, man, there's some things that I could have done that, but it's like hindsight is always 50-50. And I appreciate
50-50.
2020. 50, 80. Listen, my math is never that great. It's always hindsight's always 2020.
Yeah.
And, you know, those moments that you have, like, learning lessons or things of like, ooh, I could have.
Yeah.
Dude, just take that little snippet, take that little nugget, and put it right into the current time.
Exactly.
Because there's always new opportunities.
Exactly.
It's like, it's funny, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking about the stock market.
Yeah.
Like 10 years ago, if you would have just said like, hey, I know Tesla stock is going to be fire, so let's just go with that.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
But had I done it on a more committed, larger scale, I would be sitting here right now going, not like, hey, I got this boost. It'd be sitting here going like, dude, I'm
set.
I'm pretty set.
Yeah.
However, there's always new opportunities.
For sure.
And there's always other shots that you have to apply that knowledge or that lesson
For sure.
to the current time. I really believe that.
Yeah.
You just got to look for it, and you got to be curious.
Yeah. Well, and you had that shit out of like necessity, kind of like your adult independence early, out of necessity, and you took that responsibility on and handled it really well. You're like, no, this isn't happening to me. Like, I got this.
Yeah.
And I always saw that necessity is an important factor though, because like, man, as awful as my parents' divorce has been and like the family, you know, fucking falling apart, it did force me into more of my life and myself.
Dude. Totally. Can I say something about that? Your base and your family unit that you had, that I was so grateful to experience and to share with you, was something that I didn't have. And not only did I enjoy it so much, but I saw how valuable it was to you and how supportive it was to you. Yeah. And I felt like, man, that's like the, what's the word? The blueprint or the, what do they say on a breakdown when it's like the, not doppelganger, but
the logline, the breakdown, the synopsis,
like the whatever. We'll go with blueprint. That's the thing that I would love to have. Yeah. And I kind of got it through you guys. Yeah. And like whether it was Thanksgiving or whatever that thing was. Yeah. Your family in that home, that space. I can speak for myself, but I know that I can confidently speak for others. Yeah. Created such a home for people who really are just in LA. So many people are coming from elsewhere and creating a home for themselves, creating a family for themselves. Yeah. And you guys were like the foundation for so many people. Yeah. So I guess my point is that it was so helpful and valuable to you and your community that when it ended and fell apart, it was, I'm sure, the hardest for you guys, but it was even hard for us of like trying to wrap our heads around like, okay, the Werkheiser house is not a thing. It's not even like relocated. It's gone. It's the end.
There is no the Werkheisers.
Right. So to hear you say that prompted a bit of like a renaissance within you is, I would only expect that.
It did a really, the most challenging renaissance in my life. I mean, like literally the foundation of my being being removed.
Totally. because like you
literally
sprung from that.
Yes, and
Crib
my life
up in the Hollywood Hills. It was like right around back there. It was like right here.
Yeah, and
Holy
my life was built upon my family, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the touchstone, that was the traditions, that was the check-in, that was everything, and that being literally like removed very quickly. As challenging as it's been, I am able to see at this point, like, man, I did have so much support there that I didn't have the necessity to kind of take on some of this life that I do now, you know?
Totally.
And so in that, I'm grateful.
Totally.
There's a lot I'm not grateful for, but in that, I'm grateful, you know?
Yeah. And it kind of brings it back to friends, too, of like then when your family becomes disjointed, split, your friends become your family.
It's so real.
And it's like, that's the family that you choose, you know, all your community of friends. And it's so important in moments like those. It's important in life in general. But in moments when you're rock bottom or just in a place of transition sprinkled with some negativity and pain, that's what you need, you know? Like you need friends to kind of help you along the way, and also to just call and be like, here's where I'm at. Let it off your chest.
For sure.
And let other people hear, listen, and then maybe give you a little nugget, or maybe even not. Maybe just listen.
Yep.
Someone who you can really trust to unearth these things, because you can't live like, I'm so good at that. I'm so good at like, I'm better now at not doing that, but I used to be so good at just bottling shit up.
Yeah.
I would just play it cool.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not that cool.
No.
It's not.
No.
And if you don't talk about it with people, it's just gonna like,
well, and especially
snowball.
when you have people to talk to about it.
Totally,
you know what I mean?
totally.
Like some people maybe don't or don't think they do or don't have many. Like if you have, I do have people I can trust. I do have people who I can put that on. And yeah, I think for that was learning in our friendship, and I think probably in most friendships, is like learning that I can come to you with this shit.
And that's crazy to think, actually, think about the kind of process from beginning to where we're at now of like the beginning of our friendship. Like, dude, we weren't processing emotions.
No, not together. We were swallowing them and
crunk. Like, people don't even use that term anymore. That's like a 2007 to 9 term.
Yeah.
Like, we were just getting lit. Like, we weren't trying to like dive
just trying to
deep.
have the best fucking time.
Right. But we were equipped.
Yeah.
And as life unfolds, like, man, are we able to connect and be vulnerable and do all those things? I mean,
oh yeah, here I have to say this. I have to say this is if you have close friends in your life who you really trust and you end up in a fucking relationship, guess what? Ask your friends in a safe way for their opinion. Actually give your friends the space to tell you what they think, because for years, we would have these relationships, not talk to each other about them. And then, like, for me, my relationship would end. And then I would hear, like, oh, my best friends have all these thoughts about this fucking person and that they're not right for me. Maybe that they're fine, but that just, like, what are you doing, Devon? That I wouldn't hear for, like, 2 years because I never fucking asked. And then I would have this mind-blowing, like, why am I just learning about this now? This would be valuable information to me. To know that my friends feel a certain way, it would just be valuable to know.
Sure, you never asked.
I never asked. I know.
And I will say, I think that there was some value in allowing you to find the answer,
or just the experience.
The experience on your own.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do as a friend is impose my perspective on my dog.
You're a good man. You're a good man.
That's not to say that I didn't think I was right.
I know.
However, I just think
you were off. You were always right, I think. I came to you.
Can you say that one more time? No,
I came to you You gave me such clarity one time when I was kind of having this like on-off situation that was like becoming a fucking problem. And I was like, you gave me such clarity. I came to you finally, like this was like deep into this situation. And I'm like, man, it's just so confusing because I'm like, there's like two sides of this girl. There's the side where she tells me everything's fucking fine and da 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 da. And then there's what keeps happening, which is like chaos and fights and emotions, and it's not what she's telling me. And you're like, that's because there's not two sides. There's one true side,
Right.
and there's what's being said.
Right.
And literally, like that was it. I needed to come to you in that moment.
Right.
It gave me such clarity of, I'm deceiving myself thinking that, there's two realities here. No, the chaos is the reality because that's what keeps happening.
Totally.
And what do I need to take responsibility for to change it?
Right.
And that was the end. You're a good man.
That was the beginning.
You're a good man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's advice is a slippery slope.
Well, because it does need to be sought after. Like
Right.
if you were just to say, hey,
Yeah.
and I wasn't open to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to catch myself. I think sometimes in life I've noticed moments where I'm like skip right to the let me just boil it down for you and give you my insight.
I like that.
But it's not always asked for.
Yeah.
And if someone is not in the place to receive it,
Yeah.
it can be maybe not as supportive as you would hope it to be.
For sure.
You know?
I gave you the gentle one time
Ooh,
with a past relationship was you asked, it was like early into it, and you
I
asked,
remember it.
you asked like, what do you think? And all I said, this was the way of getting my opinion out, was you're not marrying this girl.
I remember.
Date her as long as you want.
You know what's a trip?
What's that?
I think those conversations both happened in like the same vicinity.
Yeah, it was at my yucca apartment.
Outside of your yucca
Yes.
apartment.
Yeah,
both
I was
of those
in your car.
conversations.
I was in your car.
I was in your car, and then you were in my car.
Amazing. Yep.
I've
It was
never
like
drawn
the
that
same.
parallel.
No, it's like the same.
And I remember that moment. And I
But-
remember thinking like, he's probably right.
But
But
I watched you take it in because you were feeling so good about her, but I knew it. I was like,
maybe-
I just need to plant this seed. This is not that, Drew. Have the best time. Have all the love. I just needed to let it be known.
Yeah.
You're not marrying this girl.
it's like that Louis C.K. joke where you're like, no, I'm going to marry her. But maybe.
But maybe not.
But maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one time I knew, like, I just need to say this. I need to say this to my friend, and then I'm gonna fully
Yeah,
support the relationship, and we're all good. We're not talking about it again.
And honestly, I felt great about it when you said it. I was
Yeah.
like, cool. Like, I love that input, and like, I think there's probably some potential for accuracy. But like, I'm gonna go ahead and go send it
Exactly.
and see what happens.
Exactly. I feel like you even said you're like, but maybe, and I was like.
You're like, no, I know,
No.
but it's fine. Do what you need to do. And I will say something else about that. I remember at the end of all that, you had said something like, I had a lot of doubts going into this thing. But what I will say to you, Drew, is that the growth and the, how do I word it? Like, essentially, like the progress and the internal building that you guys together have accomplished, regardless of where it ended up, was impressive.
Yep.
And that felt so good, man.
Yep.
Because, you think in that moment you're feeling heartbroken or you're feeling like you came up empty-handed or you missed it, you were short-sighted.
For sure.
But at the same time, that really gave me the perspective to go, dude, you know what? I think you're right. And like, no matter where we ended up, we ascended.
You progressed,
yeah.
You
In
didn't-
some respects, and we supported each other in so many beautiful ways. That parting ways was like cool. You take the positivity and then you run with it in another direction.
Away from that person.
Right, in a sprinting mode.
You take all that growth and you fucking sprint away.
Right, but like there's things like that you hear from people that you love and you respect, and you can rest assured that the process was positive.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Yeah.
It was worth it. It was valuable.
Yeah. It's part of the path, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's a joy to get to be your friend and like go through all these changes and life with you. It's one of my favorite things in my life, man.
Love you, dude.
Love you too. We could talk for 5 hours, but this is an hour-long podcast, and I think
Where are we at?
Over it. Yeah, we did it.
Did we go over? By how much?
Yeah, we're good. We're over an hour. That's okay.
I'm out.
We do that sometimes.
If I was holding this mic, I'd drop it.
I like to leave the audience with a little tippy tip. Just any words of wisdom you have for people out there, Drew. You've given me a wealth of wisdom and nuggets in my life.
Yeah.
Drop some knowledge on them.
You know, I would say in moments when overthinking or a lot of like mental energy is swirling, take a step back. Allow whatever this thing that you're trying to figure out is, allow it to unfold. And if you don't know, just be patient for some more cues that are gonna help you to know. It's not rocket science to pursue things mentally. I think it's just so often that we as humans want to dissect it and want to figure it out and break it down and compartment and know every step of the way to do the right thing or end up where you're going to end up. Yeah. And I think the truth is like, stay focused, know what you want, be specific. And in the moments when you're feeling overwhelmed and confused, just be patient. Just be patient and look for the cues and look for those moments that push you into a place of assuredness. It's just that simple.
I love that.
And then you'll land where you need to, you know?
Yep. I love that. That'll do.
I love you.
Hey, I love you. That'll do, Drew. Drew.
That'll do.
Garrett, where can people find you? You're on Instagram, right?
I'm on Instagram barely.
I know.
At Drew Garett Nelson.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. I post some shit like once a year.
Every now and then. You're a handsome devil. You really could, do it more, but I like that you don't.
Yeah,
Drew's barely on the socials.
Yeah, here and there.
You're multi-talented actor. He makes nice music too that you never do anything with.
I just make music for myself.
You should see this man with his shirt off. My God.
Stop it.
0% body fat, you son of a bitch.
That's maybe true. But it's all because of my in-home sauna.
All right.
Appreciate
love
it,
you, buddy.
Thanks
See
for having
ya.
me.